Hello everyone. In this demo, I am going to show you the creation of physical standby database using RMAN, but without any backups. In 11G release 2, we have a new feature available with RMAN, but even without having a backup, we can use a duplicate command and create a physical standby database from active database. The preparatory steps for physical standby database creation are same. You can refer my other articles to prepare primary and standby servers for database creation. The procedure varies only with the execution of the RMAN duplication command. In earlier procedures, we are using RMAN backups on the standby side to duplicate this database. But now we are not taking any backups. We are using a duplicate command of RMAN and we are creating a physical standby database. Now let me show you the present setup I have. This is my primary database side. This is my standby database SID. Now the first step is to enable force logging. My database is already enabled for force logging. Let me show it to you. Yes means my database is already enabled for force logging and my database is already running in log mode. Next step is to create standby redo logs. We need to create standby redo logs on the primary site. So I already created 4 standby redo logs on the primary site. The importance of creating these standby redo logs can be referred from the documentation or from other articles. The next step is to prepare initialization parameters for primary site and as well as for standby site. I have already prepared initialization parameters and I will show you the list of initialization parameters required to be set for creation of the standby database. These are all the parameters that I need to set on the primary side. If you are using an SP file on the primary side, you can set these parameters online with command all system set parameter equal to value and both. I also need to set some initialization parameters on the standby side, but there is a provision in the RMAN duplication command that in the script itself I can specify the initialization parameters required for the standby database creation. But in this demo I am just simply using a duplication command from active database. In that command I am not using any initialization parameters. For that reason I am showing here the initialization parameters required to be set on the standby set. These are the initialization parameters need to set on the standby side. After setting the initialization parameters, we need to verify the existence of the password file on both primary and standby side. This is my password file. It's on the primary side. I also need to have a password file on the standby side. If you do not have the password file on the standby side, create it with the command The next verification or preparatory step for physical standby creation is establishing connection from primary to standby and standby to primary. For this, I need to configure my listener.vara and tnsnames.vara. I have these files set up. Let me show the content of these file creation files. These are the configuration files for network connectivity, and I also show you these configuration files on the standby side. So after setting these, I need to see the connectivity from primary to standby and standby to primary. Let me see if I have my listeners up and running. I have my listeners running on both sides, the standby and primary sides. Now let me verify the connectivity. If I connect to standby side, it is connecting to idle instance because I do not have the standby database yet created. Let me verify the same on the standby side. So the connectivity works fine from both the primary server and standby server. For preparing the primary and standby servers for physical standby database creation, now the servers are ready for creating physical standby database using RMAN command. Using RMAN command, I am connecting to RMAN on the primary side. Before executing the duplicate command, let me put my standby database in no mount says. Now let me go to the primary side. I will connect to RMAN again. Now here I will execute a duplication command. If you observe on the primary side, I have not made any backups for primary database. I prepared primary side and standby side and I am directly executing RMAN duplication command. Now I have created 3 channels, 2 channels to the primary database and 1 channel which is auxiliary channel for creating physical standby database. Now this is my actual duplicate command. In the same command, if we want, we can specify a parameter sp file. We can also specify the initialization parameters required on the physical standby database. As I told you earlier, I am not using setting the initialization parameters in the RMAN command. I already set in the initialization parameters which I have shown earlier. Now the duplication is completed. See here, finish duplication db, and it releases the channels. If you see here, you can see some of the warnings, but you can ignore these warnings. These warnings are because that we have set standby file management to auto on both sides. So if you have set this parameter to manual, you would not get these errors. Now let me see the standby. Now also put me in recovery mode. Now my database is in recovery mode. Well, let me verify the database role. Now it is in primary standby role. And also verify the same status on the primary side. Now it is in primary. So let me verify if it is generating archive logs and sending them to standby side and applying. I have generated 2 archive logs. Let me verify if these 2 are transferred to standby side and applied. See, 416.9. There is also another SQL command to verify whether archive logs are applied properly to standby side or not. See here, that means primary physical standby is set up correctly and it is working fine. This is how we use RMAN duplicate from active database without shutting down the primary database and also without having any backups from the primary site. This is the latest feature available in 11.0 release 2. Thanks for watching this demo.